closer simply due to the enormous size that all the structures around us are. It's not unusual while transiting the Panama Canal to have some rather heavy tropical rain. If you have a look around you, all you see are lush green forests, and they're not that way because it's dry. It's an extremely wet area, and it's that gives the lush green colour to everything that you see around you. But so far, and I'm sure for the rest of the day, by the look of it, are actually one of the greatest engineering works ever undertaken when they were opened in 1914. And it's interesting to note that no other concrete construction of comparable size was undertaken until the Hoover Dam was built in the 1930s. Now, as we start, you'll notice that there are actually two independent transit lanes, since each of the locks is built double. In other words, there are parallel locks which have been built next to each other. It's actually the size of these locks that limits the maximum size of ships that can transit the canal. And this again as we go through the locks. Each of the lock chambers is 110 feet wide, the 1,050 feet long, with a usable length of around about 1,000 feet. So it's these dimensions themselves which actually determine the maximum size of ships as you face forward.
Room on the starboard side with
the two sets of locks. The locks on the right has what looks like a slight queue at the moment, whereas the lock system on the left-hand side has just the one ship, which appears to be just entering the first set of locks as we're approaching. And again now on the starboard right-hand side, you have an excellent view now, for those of you at the front of the ship again, of the old original portion of the French Canal. Each of the culverts is approximately the size of a London tube tunnel. It's also worth noting that the water is moved between one lock and another only by gravity, and is controlled by huge valves. And a lock chamber, when required, can actually be filled in as little as 8 minutes. Now, depending, you see sometimes the speed that they actually travel up and down the tracks, you will be amazed. The a steep hill, and really will be stopped shortly as they open up. But you can see the cars actually now going across that particular bridge, and this is the only bridge until the new one has been built anyway. This is currently the only bridge. And as we come in, it's going to only increase. Now, one of the things that we mentioned earlier on was the turbulence that you can see as the water is coming through the culverts, and you can see now, if you have a look just in front of the bridge, where these gates actually range between 47 to 82 feet high, depending whereabouts they are on the canal, and each of the gates and each of these leaves are approximately 7 foot thick. Oceana is now fully in the first of the set of 3 locks here at the Gatun locks, and very shortly we're going to be making our first leg of our descent upwards. The defense of the Panama Canal is still in American hands. Quite a few caveats, if you like, which were attached to the handover of the canal from the Americans to the Panamanians back in 1999. Amongst those, they've now taken up the slack and are starting to move once Oceana has become parallel to them. We're now going to travel a distance of some 1,000. Who were building the canal, bearing in mind the situation and climate of the time, which was the beginning of the workers, was so completely taken care of. People actually started to wonder how they would actually adjust back in the real world once the project had been completed. for the water level on both sides of the lock gates to be exactly the same. And therefore, once the water level and water pressure has equalised, then it's simply a matter of opening the gates in front and we'll be able to move sedately. Countdown markers as you approach each of the locks themselves. The ones on Oceana side, you can see the first one says 180. Final set of gates here to Oceana then we move out into the Atlantic side of the Panama Canal into the Caribbean Sea. It's not just the ones at the front, it's the ones towards the rear as well. So our mules now are moving backwards slightly, taking up the slack. You can see the pulley